equal access to justice for people with speech and language disabilities. Over 400,000 Canadians have speech and language disabilities that are not caused by hearing loss or visual impairments. Many of them have disabilities from birth, such as cerebral palsy, autism, or cognitive disabilities. Others acquire disabilities later in life, such as aphasia after a stroke, Lou Gehrig's disease, traumatic brain injury, Parkinson's disease, dementia, or other disabilities. Some people have unclear speech. Others have little or no speech. They may use body language, pictures or letterboards, or devices that speak out their messages. It's important to realize that not being able to speak does not mean that a person has a cognitive disability. Many people who have communication disabilities can be effective communicators if they have appropriate ways to communicate and if people are receptive and take the time to communicate with them. However, most legal and justice professionals are not familiar with how to communicate with a person who has a speech or language disability. In these situations, a communication intermediary may be required. For example, Christina's speech may be difficult to understand at times. In an important legal or justice situation, she would want someone to assist others to understand what she is saying. Colin cannot speak. He points to letters and words on his communication board. In a legal or justice situation, he would want someone to read aloud what he is spelling and to be sure that he gets the opportunities to communicate everything he wants to say. Jim communicates using pictures. In a legal or justice situation, he would need a communication intermediary to assist him to communicate his message as accurately as possible and to give him the pictures of things he wants to talk about. This needs to be done in a way that does not impact on the integrity of his testimony. Bill has aphasia after a stroke. He has difficulty processing or understanding what others are saying and finding the words that he needs to say. In a legal or justice situation, he would need a communication intermediary to assist him understanding spoken language as well as getting his message across to others.
In some situations, communication assistance can be provided by somebody who knows the individual well and understands how they communicate. However, there are other situations when an independent assistant is what's required.
Communication intermediaries are qualified speech-language pathologists who have extra training from CDAC to work within the justice system. Our role is to facilitate two-way communication between a complainant or accused person and a police officer, lawyer, or justice professional. That may involve assisting justice professionals to ask questions in ways that a person with a communication disability can understand and respond to, or it may involve facilitating and supporting the person with a communication disability to convey their messages as effectively and as accurately as possible. It's important to know that communication intermediaries are professionals. We are neutral and we are impartial at all times. We are not coaches, we are not advisors, we are not mentors. We work in the presence of a police officer, a lawyer, or a justice professional at all times to support the communication process.
There is no question that a witness who is deaf and uses sign language requires a sign language interpreter. And similarly, a witness who does not speak English or French requires language interpretation. In the same way, a person who has a speech and language disability may require the support of a communication intermediary in order to access justice services, in order to speak to the police, or to testify in court. A foundational principle of our justice system is that it must be independent and open to all. That means that if a person has a speech and language disability and cannot access or meaningfully access the justice system without communication support, that support must be provided as a matter of law. It's that simple.
To learn more about communication intermediaries And to access our national and provincial communication intermediary rosters, go to www.accesstojustice.org.